Dr. Fisher, assuming control of the body.
Right.
As I enter into the vibration of this day, we have with us Mr. Edgar Cayce, who has consented to be on the vibration with us and to do extensive future work into the lives of various people that seek spiritual help. That is, along with my counseling, Mr. Cayce will offer a complete chemical diagnosis of the body and how to relieve or to alleviate the condition that is found in all physical bodies.
Yes.
Now, in his process of coming, there shall have to be careful monitoring of his work, for there will be conflict with outside conditions.
Yes.
That is, with various denials of his presence, which to me is immaterial.
Yeah.
But you will find a few that are going to be resentful of our possessing, as they will say, his ingenuity and his vibrational force.
Yes.
So in the coming time of Earth, we shall prove the diagnosis and continue with the work just the same.
Good.
It is no time to be diplomatic or cautious in our spiritual approach.
That's true. Dr. Fisher, could you tell me, is this the actual spirit of Edgar Cayce himself, or the spirit of the entity who worked through him when he was in trance?
It is not singular. It is Mr. Cayce himself and also his co-workers he used while in the body. And of course, since then he has become quite capable in growing to a greater outer dimensional force. But his main work is diagnosis of the disease of living and also the life readings, which he has become quite proficient in.
I see.
Now, I enjoyed your discourse in your world city and was there during your demonstration.
Oh, yes.
It was excellent, to say the least, and from it will come more people and more demands to demonstrate in other places. However, I do not believe it necessary to be running all over the universe to try to prove spiritual connection.
No.
Rather, there are too many that are seeking, believing, and wanting more revelation. And so those that are intellectually blocked will have to wait at the end of the line.
Yes. Then do you think it is all right then if they arrange for an evening session for Elwood to go down and to go down there to give them a trance session?
As long as you go first,
yes,
to clear the way.
Yes.
Now, just a moment, and we will enter Mr. Cayce in the vibration. Yes. It seems somewhat strange to enter the physical matter once again. But I am joining your ranks and will do all in my understanding to help those that will help themselves. Understand, I can diagnose the chemical condition, but it is largely up to the individual to also change his or her thought force concerning that disease.
Yes, is this Mr. Cayce?
Yes, I will work with you. You are Mr. Hapgood.
Yes.
I will work with you quite often. And I will be near this earth vibration in order to do my part.
Thank you. I have a few questions, but I'll wait. Shall I ask them now, or?
By all means.
Well, when you were in the body and spoke in the trance state, I wondered who the entity was that spoke through you, to give these diagnoses and prescriptions.
The workers I used while in the body were three brilliant Atlantean, former Atlantean doctors and prophets. Also, they were helping other workers extend the vibrational force outward, so that in my sleep, my spirit or my energy could travel without hindrance to various places to give fuller diagnosis and fuller help. However, the workers are not so important. Rather, the results, I feel, speaks for itself.
I noticed in reading some of the records down in Virginia Beach that sometimes the questions asked you seem to be questions of the person who had ideas of her own and who wanted to have confirmation of them. The sign of these questions, I thought that sometimes the questions were not made it difficult for the answers to be given in the way that the Spirit wished to give them.
Well, in many ways, the King's English is a detriment to full spiritual vibrational force. For words have so many meanings, both literal, spiritual, and material, that I feel many misunderstandings concerning a message are not fully understood because the parties involved generally misquote or misinterpret the full implication of that message. Same as I have noticed your little eccentricity or peculiarity, if I may say so, in some messages you have received have oftentimes been taken too literally or misunderstood, same as the mind barrier that you can place before the answer of the entity has been completely given, thus defeating the meaning or definition of what the message implies.
Oh, yeah.
That is, in your example of prophecy, there is a total chemical shutdown when it does not agree with your reasoning power. Thus, you do not attune yourself to the sympathetic spiritual vibration, but rather to the stubborn blockage between spirit and flesh. There is existing between vibrations and not worlds, as so many say, a very delicate balance of demarcation between the mind, which is all energy, and the brain, which is all chemical. However, the chemistry is to be respected, for each cell is very, very cautious, yet very, very much in sympathy to what you as energy are thinking and explaining in your outer environment. Does this meet with your approval?
I can understand, I can see, yes, it would be very helpful to me. Now, there were these physical troubles I've been having, the dizziness and the back troubles, and I wondered if you could tell me what the cause of this long prolonged dizziness and pressure feelings in the brain, and also the trouble in my lower left side in the region of the kidney.
Well, in walking through your chemistry and seeing the environmental conditions of these cells, there is not too much wrong with you. Most of your trouble is from your exposure to spiritual conditions and from your strong affirmations that have a very strong reaction on your whole cycle of living. And of course, it is not to become so mummified or so mesmerized with all of the spiritual happenings that you do not think for yourself. But the difficulty lies in the blockage that you have when some information does not coincide with your intellectual or fixed idea about life. And of course, this sets up in the chemistry a blockage or dam that does not allow full function of oxygen to the brain, and thus causes your dizziness and seemingly weak condition. I suppose one would call this a trial by fire, where you're going through the flames of spiritual conditions and also feeling the discomforts from the limitations of a material body and brain that find it hard to accept the full simplicity of all Vishnu or God force. I feel this is a total example of in the past, where, if I am not mistaken, you did have a deep discourse in the smaller part of your cellular brain concerning the law of gravity, which, speaking about, caused a non-acceptable understanding of what gravity is and how it operates.
You mean with Dr. Millikan?
I believe so. This is a fragmentary vibration, and I am only using it as an illustration.
But I do feel a presence of a rather intense infection in the nose and throat or ear area, in the either whether it's involved with sinus or something like that, I don't know. But
more of it is from the tension throughout the neck region. There is a difficulty in the left kidney,
yes,
which you should be most cautious about. And I would recommend some teas, herbal in nature, no matter what herbal tea it might be, but will help this condition. And to drink more of the water of the universe and flood this condition, and also place some cellular or mind force, that is using positive cells with positive mind energy to heal yourself. You do not need physical help.
no.
You only need to use more of your spiritual knowledge and understanding and immerse Mr. Hapgood as identity into the region afflicted, placing the left hand negative on the condition and the right hand positive on the forehead, which sets up the complete electrical positive charge that can alleviate this condition and make you feel more comfortable.
I see. Thank you very much.
Mr. Cayce, I wondered if you could say anything about my...
Yes, I've been through your body since you have been in the environment of the house, and I find that the cycles of your nature, that is in birth and in growth, have not reached a full maturity in the cellular conditions that are needed for balance. Here I refer to somewhat of a mild condition in a menstrual problem way. Now, this is caused by simply that your earth years are somewhat ahead of your cycle of cellular life. However, this will catch up, as one would say, and become better balanced. I would not be worried about it, but I would do a great deal of your thought force or positive attitude on it, for it isn't anything that is going to lead to hysterectomies or to operations that are not necessary when one understands nature. There is a good cellular pattern, but also there is the cycles between the physical and the spiritual that have to be balanced. And of course, there is the condition of your father, who in his climatic condition on the biological phase did not exude the full sperma force that was needed to place you in proper balance. However, this is not his fault, rather your mother's, that does not accept the full enjoyment of the biological act, rather feeling it a necessity or a duty, rather than a full pleasurable experience of life. All of these conditions of mating process react upon the embryo or the fetus. And now it is your only thought to be patient until your cellular cycle catches up more with your spiritual self. And the godsend is, of course, in your behalf, the complete understanding and full acceptance of what spirit means to you, or what God and all of the conditions surrounding it mean in your own mind force. You understand, young lady?
Yes, I do. I never heard that before about it reacting on itself. The thing about the sperm and the egg not fully uniting with it.
It's definitely a unification of cell and sperm, but the coitus practiced more with guilt than with pleasure that causes a lot of handicaps in the cellular structure of the embryo.
I have a few questions on the cells. I've been having words with my cells to cleanse out the disciplining and to try and teach the cell consciousness a balance that spiritual has.
Well, you still have a little infection throughout your whole system of cellular structure because of your drug problem that is not fully cleared out. It usually takes 8 to 10 Earth years to balance that thin line of darkness that hovers around the cell after the drug condition has been relieved, same as with alcohol, smoking, or whatever. However, you're still feeling the byproducts of your smoking, and gradually this will all dissipate. But do not place it in too much of a forceful condition of thought, because this can overbalance it into worry. That is, learn to do it in a lighter and sympathetic vein and give more sympathy to the cells and thank them and give them your total understanding. They are doing all that is possible to help you along your full recovery.
Now, Mr. Cayce, what do the cells actually think about? How far do they understand the entity of which they are a part?
They operate in the frequency of sustaining life. That is their prime concern or thought. And each cell, which you know are millions and millions, are constantly giving rebirth or breaking away from one another with every breath that is drawn in the human system. This can make one appreciate what a delicate balance or what a thin thread that life hangs on between life and transition. And of course, I do not accept your word of death, rather transition of change, rather than of the finality of cessation of life. Now each cell, each performs his own duty in regard to the organ, the vein, the artery, or the blood, or whatever. But each cell, doing its different work, is part of the whole being the mind force. When the mind force is in operation, all cells will do their work to their fullest capacity. But let one thought, one moment of anger, one moment of distress, one moment of loneliness enter into the mind force, then one specific cell can be affected, same as the liver, the stomach, or the appendix, if one has one. Any organ can be affected by the full thought force of that individual. So it is an art to live in the fullest beauty of life. And now you find many who realize this become utterly desolate in their thoughts and then enter the closet and hang themselves because they feel they can't do it.
Yes. Alma, did you have a question?
How can I see Goman better?
You are a very cautious young little child. You're little folks in your little folk world. But your cells are very good, but very delicate. And I would be extremely careful of acid foods, and I would not go overboard in any food condition. Recently, you have suffered a gastronomical condition because overindulgence in corn, and also in your tomatoes that are not fully good for you. One a day is enough. And be careful of the apples you eat. However, I do not want to see you drinking milk, but rather find the herb that contains calcium that will help your teeth and your whole situation, because now you go into your second cycle of life when this next year passes. You are what, 7 or 6, little lady? 6. Then you have another year, and then you will transform or shed your chemistry and go into another second condition of life. So be good in your thoughts, be sweet to others, and be giving, not selfish, and give your love to all things, and you will find your animals or people which are animals will give you love in return. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to ask a question on the music in regards to the entities of Sor and Karaga, and I don't know any others, but in what's been opening up for me very nicely.
Well, I can't speak of that thing because this is not my field. It would require another vibration. However, in music, if you have music with your dining, helps the digestive tract, and it is smoothing it to the cells in operation. And sometime I will discourse on the art of eating.
Could I add one more? Can you speak on the spiritual independence I've been feeling from Elwood, yet working with Elwood?
This you will take into master conditions. I am only for life readings, for chemical of the body, and for helping those that are looking for better health. I could discourse on it, but I feel this is more in the master that is working with you, or the man Leno or Rowe, that you will find he can explain it better than I. And you have good chemistry, young man, and a fine start on the road to good health. However, do not be overly tempted by a great deal of sweet or a great deal of fried foods, for they will be your enemy as you grow into manhood. For the sugar is not needed, it is in good balance. But be moderate in all you eat, and you will not have very much difficulty throughout your life.
Now, where's the
Keith, that was the case. Mr. Cayce, about my problem of losing weight, do you have any advice?
Only to do it in a moderate way. And I feel the best diet is to cut in half all that you usually eat during the day. And gradually the weight will dissipate. I feel you should lose more weight, but I would not want to go on a drastic diet where you force yourself with artificial girdles or heavy weights attached to the neck, or by standing on your head in some dark corner. I feel it is just a gradual dissipation of eating half what you are eating, and to be sure you drink your water more often than you do now. This will flood out the urinary tracts and also help flood out this small infection that is located in the left lobe of the kidney.
There's no medical treatment for that infection.
Well, I suppose you can go under the sulfur or the penicillin drug. But I feel that through your capabilities and your thought force, you will be able to take care of the condition yourself.
I see.
Now I must return to my own vibrational force, and I will come when I am needed. And good health and good spirit to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.